30-3s, new unit, real life decisions. Yes, real life decisions can get a little scary. So that's what we're going to look at. This unit is not a lot of calculations, tough calculations, but just how you need to start thinking mathematically about some real life decisions, sorts of things that you might have come up in your life in the next year or so, now that you're close to graduation. So, real life decisions. We're going to talk a little bit about cars, vehicles, shopping, costs, because everyone wants a car till sometimes they realize just what's involved to own a car. And then the second part of that is, what if you wanted to start a small business? Okay, especially depends upon the situation you're in. Maybe you could start a small business for yourself, not grandiose, but what's involved. So that's what the next few lessons will be about. So to start with, if we go to page 2, a unit preview. I'm not going to spend time going over this. You can check the booklet and the answers, my key booklet. Go through, those are a couple little skill sets you should have. Shouldn't be too complicated. Look at the answers. If you're not sure, reach out and ask. Should all be fairly manageable. So let's go to page 3 and take a look at owning a vehicle. Now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you, when I tell you to, stop the video and go to page 4, the next page, and read about the differences between pros and cons, buying a vehicle, leasing a vehicle, or a lease to own, which is kind of leasing a vehicle, but then buying it at the end of that. So read some of the points and jot down what you think the key points are, and then I'll summarize what I think the key points are, but do the reading so you see all the points, and maybe a question will come up that you can ask me later about that. So pause the video, read page 4, jot down some information, and then come back. Go. All right, so you may have different points than I do. That's okay. These are the ones that I found to be kind of important. Discussion in class would be great, but can't always do that. So here we go. A couple things about buying a vehicle that are great is once you have paid the vehicle fully off, is you own it. You don't own it right away because the bank will until you pay for it. But once you've made your last payment on your vehicle, if you can't pay for it all up front, it's your vehicle after a certain amount of time. And that's kind of nice to know that the vehicle is totally yours. The other nice thing with buying a vehicle is you can finance it different ways. So you have some ability when you go into the dealership or you go into a bank to try to set up payments that will work for you. You can change the length of how long you're borrowing the money for. You can also change the amount of your down payment, what you pay outright. The more you pay up front, if you can't pay all of it, the less you'll be paying monthly. So you can make some changes to buying a vehicle. You own it. These are what I consider positives. Couple things about buying a vehicle that the issues are yours. If you're the one that owns the vehicle, if there's a problem with it, you have to take care of it. You have to find time to deal with it. You have to find the money to deal with it. That's a bit of a negative to owning a vehicle. Now, leasing a vehicle, what leasing a vehicle is kind of where you rent it for long term. Now, renting it, what I mean by that is that that's what leasing a vehicle is that you don't own it at the end of the lease. You keep it for a number of years, however many years or months is agreed upon, and you're renting it monthly for multiple years. One of the negatives is you don't own it. At the end of the lease, you've put money into it and they just take it. All of that money went to the vehicle, whereas you own your vehicle at the end. You make payments, but at the end of it, now it's yours. You can sell it for a bunch. With a lease, you make payments monthly, And at the end of that set time, they just take it away from you. So that's a bit of a negative. Okay, a lot of times there's you don't control the lease. You don't, when you lease, you don't control the payments and things quite as much. They're dictated to you. So that's leasing a vehicle, not controlling the payments. What's nice about leasing a vehicle is that a vehicle gets leased for 3-4 years maybe, so you have a newer car all the time. If you want to continue to make payments and after your lease is due, you get another car and you just start making payments on those ones as well, your monthly rents. You're always in a newer car, which can be nice. Problems are yours and the leasers. The company that you're leasing from, they have to take care of the vehicle too because it's not yours. It's theirs that you're borrowing. So if there's problems, not your fault, they have to take care of them. So there's pros and cons. Now, lease to own, this is where you lease. Well, I guess I can write it in here. You lease, but buy it at the end of the lease. So you lease it for an amount of time, but at the end of it, they say this car is now worth this much, and you can pay the difference. So you pay what's called a residual value, which is your payment at the end to buy. The residual value, how much they think the car is worth compared to what you've been paying all along. So, lease to own, that's those. Pros and cons, well, it's more the buying and leasing that's the pros and cons. So that's what buying versus leasing a vehicle is all about. What factors should you consider when you're shopping for a vehicle, though? Should you buy? Should you lease? Those are things. What kind of factors? Well, you need to know buy versus lease. What's going to work for you? What else? What kind of payments can you make? Money payments. How much can you afford on a regular basis? That's important. Maybe the amount you drive. Well, that'll determine the type of vehicle you need. So there's lots of things. There's all kinds of other things. Some people, gas mileage. You don't want to pay a lot for gas once you have it. The type of vehicle will determine how much you pay for insurance. Type will determine insurance payments. If you buy a bit of a big, souped up, all the bells and whistles truck, it's going to be more than driving my little Toyota Matrix because it's not as valuable a vehicle. A lot of it comes down to money and costs when you're considering buying a vehicle. So, something to think about as we work through this unit. If we go to page 5, what we're looking at is some of the differences in total costs for vehicles. So Erin's been working as a cabinet maker for several years and is starting her own business. She needs a car to meet with clients and decides she can afford a new car. Here's the pricing. What is the total cost of the car including 5%? Well, total cost of the car, when we look at that, we have a total amount of $21,739. Well, when all that's added up, we also have to include 5%. So if I take my $21,739 and multiply it by the decimal equivalent, that's going to be $1,086.95 tax. And when I combine the two of them, it's going to be a $22,825.95 car. There's the price of the car. Now, Erin decides to get a car loan for 60 months. Well, 60 months divided by 12, she's going to take 5 years to buy the car. 5 years of payments. That's a decision people have to make. A lot of times, dealerships and banks will allow you to change how long it takes you to pay off the vehicle. So, advantage, a long time, 5 years. Some are up to 7 years or even more nowadays with the price of cars. It's nice, but you have that's a lot of years of payment. But if you pay it off quicker, your payments will be bigger. So you need to figure out how much you can afford per month, because that's what's going to determine how long it takes to pay off your loan. So in those 5 years or 60 months, she'll be paying $439.96 per month. What's the total amount Erin will have paid for the car when it's paid off? Well, she isn't going to just pay what the car is worth. She's going to pay $439.96 60 times. And that works out to be $26,397.60. Why is this higher than what the car is worth? Well, dealerships and banks, what they're going to do is they want this $22,825 now. That's what the car is worth. That's what you pay. But if you're going to take 5 years, and it's going to take them 5 years to get all their money, you know what? If you're going to take 5 years to pay us, we're going to be charging you a little bit more. So that's what they're looking at doing. Extra pay, extra charges to take 5 years to pay. Now, I think that's fair. You want to buy something but don't want to pay for it for 5 years? It's like a friend. I mean, are you going to give someone, I don't know, loan them some money and they say, oh yeah, I'll pay you back in 5 years? That's a long time to wait for that money. They feel the same way. And that's called financing costs. It's extra interest, essentially, what you're paying. So in this case, I subtract the two, the $22,825.95, and I take that away from the $26,397.60 that she's paying. And what does that work out to be? She's paying an extra $3,571.65, which works out to be about $700 per year extra. So $700 per year, but she's paying less per month. So she has it monthly to pay, and over the long haul, she's paying more, but she can afford it monthly. So if Erin saves $1,800 for a down payment, how much will she have to borrow? How will this affect her monthly payment? Well, if the price of the car is $22,825.95, but she pays $1,800 right up front, what that says is she's going to have to finance $21,025.95. That's going to have to be paid over the 60 months. Well, she's taken some money off, so over 60 months, it's less money. So what's going to happen to her monthly payment? It'll be lower. So whatever you can pay up front will allow you to end up with a smaller amount to be paid, so it's going to be lower monthly payments. So that's a good thing. The more you can pay up front, I mean, the better it is, because then you're not paying the finance and the interest. So the quicker, the shorter term, the better it is. So example 2 now. So now you want to buy or lease a car worth $27,030.72. That includes tax. You have 2 options. You could buy it or you could lease it. So if you're buying it, the down payment is $4,000. So you have that ability right up front to pay it. $4,000 is going to go down, and then you will have monthly payments of $514.78 for 4 years. It's monthly payments, so that means our 4 years times 12 months, you have to make 48 payments of $514.78. So what will the total cost of the car be to you? Well, it's not the $27,000. That's the purchase price. That's if you buy it right now off the lot, they'll take that much. Your cost, you're putting $4,000 down right off the bat, and then you're going to make 48 payments of $514.78. That's what it's going to cost you. It's not what the car is worth, but it's what it's going to cost you. And that, when you calculate, works out to be $28,709.44. Well, the purchase price is the $27,000. So when I subtract that, your cost, subtract the purchase price, that tells us how much extra you're paying in interest. What's the financing costs? It works out to be $1,678.72. So in this situation, if you buy it, in 4 years, you'll have paid $1,678 extra over those 4 years. When you divide that by 4, well, it's about $400 per year extra cost. $400 per year to afford it? Well, is it money well spent? Depends upon you and your situation. But what happens if you want to lease it? So remember, leasing it, you're making monthly payments. Now again, you can still do a down payment right off the bat when you lease it, and that will decrease your monthly payments. It's an agreement you can make. But to lease it, it says you're going to lease it over 3 years monthly payment. Well, 12 months times 3 years, you're going to have to make 36 payments of $475.65. Now, here's the important one, the residual value of the car. They've figured out that after those 3 years, this is how much the car will still be worth. Remember, you're renting the car. So what's the total cost of the car if you buy it at the end of the term? Well, let's stop on that for a sec. What's just the cost of the car for you to lease? Well, you're making $2,000 down payment, and then you're going to make 36 monthly payments of $475.65. So that's a total of $19,000. What did I have now? Sorry. $19,123.40. That's what you're going to pay over 3 years to lease it. That's the leasing. At that point, you could return the car, say, I'm done with this. It's cost me $19,000. I got nothing out of it. But for that $20,000 almost, you got to drive a car for 3 years. And it would have been a new car, so it would have been a nicer car. And then you say, okay, what's the next car that I could lease? And you start the process again. However, if you buy it at the end of the term, your leasing costs is what you've paid. You could then, though, pay that residual value of $9,887.13. So you've put $19,000 into it. You paid the residual, what's left on it. That means if you did that, the car would have cost you $29,010.53 if you leased it and then bought it. Again, all kinds of things we're talking about here, and lots of numbers for the same car. There's the outright purchase price. Show up, big bag of cash, plop $27,030 on the counter and say, I want the car. Done. The second thing is you could buy it with the second situation $4,000, 48 payments. There's the cost to buy it over 4 years, a little bit more. Well, the second possibility with this car, the third possibility, is just to lease it. After 3 years, $19,123, you return the car and start that process again. So there's another possibility. Or you could lease it and then say, hey, I love this car. I'm going to pay this residual value. And there's the fourth price that's possible. $29,000 to rent it and then buy it at the end. Calculate the amount of interest paid on the car in that situation. Well, you've got your $29,010, $53. Take away the price of the car, $27,030, $72. The interest in this case is $1979.81. So that's a little more. This works out to be about $660 interest per year. Our other interest per year, we said, was about $400. Well, it's more per year, but that's because you paid it off quicker. So you're paying a little more, but you're doing it in a shorter time. But the reason a lease is more expensive, a lease, they do a little more for you. They do more maintenance on the car than as if you were buying it. So what are the advantages of buying this car? Well, if you buy this car, instead of leasing to own, if you outright buy it, you pay less interest, we saw. But what are the advantages of you pay less interest, and then you end up, you have the car at the end. You don't return it. It's now your vehicle. What are the advantages to leasing? Shorter period of time. You're making payments for a shorter 3 years instead of 4. So you get all those payments done with, and then you get a year without payments. So that's kind of positive on that. Okay, you had, I believe, if we take a look, the payments when we leased, it was $475 a month versus $514. So in this case, the lease was lower payments. So that's a nice thing, is to have lower payments when you do that. So what's better depends upon you and your situation at the time. But you can see when you buy a vehicle, there's lots to consider. Can you pay it up front? Probably the best. If you can pay it up front, you're not going to pay financing costs. Okay, there won't be the extra interest. However, it's a lot of money. How many people have $27,000 saved? Well, it depends upon you and the situation you're in. So buying versus leasing, everyone's in a different situation. Pages 7, 8, and 9. Answers are at the end. Buying versus leasing assignment. Pages 7, 8, and 9. The answers are at the end. And you can always look in my posted booklet to see what you've done right or wrong, or maybe what I've done right or wrong. Have fun with it.